Welcome, Aquarius, to your in-depth weekly astrology overview and zodiac forecast for week commencing the 8th of June for the ascendant, the sun or the moon. Going to share with you the big themes of the week ahead first. On screen is your event chart, Aquarius. At the beginning of the week, I'll unpack that, always provides an important backdrop. I'll then go through each of the influences in detail. By the end of the week, you'll have a clear picture of what's upcoming in terms of your energy, work, relationships, or finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Randall. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. It's a week which begins with a quarter moon in the feeling sign of Pisces. What will that mean for you? On Tuesday, we have one of astrology's finest connections between the two planets of fortune, but how will that have an impact for you? On Thursday, your stern traditional ruler, Saturn, does apply to Mercury, the planet of thinking. How will that impact? Friday, we have a very powerful event. We have Uranus, your modern ruler, clashing with the nodal axis. What's going to be the impact? But by Saturday, Venus, the relator, moves into the most delicious part of your chart for the following 4 weeks, which can bring some very lovely connections. On the screen now, Aquarius, your event chart. So right at the start of the week, the Sun and Uranus are in the fifth house, which is very playful, creative, and helps you to showcase your charisma. But the moon later on Monday moves forwards and squares off to the sun. Quarter moons provide a backdrop for the following week. You may find that you're tempted to splash out on something that you're drawn towards. If it's a bit more frivolous, you could end up with a case of buyer's remorse. If it's something that has some practical value, perhaps less so. But on Tuesday, Venus and Jupiter finally reached the climax of their conjunction, which has been building up over the last week. The sixth house can be about jobs, but it can also be about the things that we enjoy as far as crafting. If you are a creative person, that creativity could see you produce some lovely results. But Venus and Jupiter being very much to do with fortune, if you are applying for a job, you may get some good news from that. But what we also have is Mercury in this area. Mercury gets compromised a bit in water signs because Mercury likes precision. And even though you may be trying to concentrate, its clash with Saturn on Thursday could create some tension, especially if you're trying to get too much done. However, Friday, it's Uranus linking to the south and the north node in an exact T square. It's been building up for some while. So Uranus is asking you to showcase your uniqueness to the maximum. But because the north and south nodes are in the part of your chart to do with long and short-term finance, but also where you may be a bit more attached, that can be a bit challenging. If we break free from something in that exact moment, that can be hugely liberating, but that can create significant reverberations thereafter. But Venus moves later in the week across that seventh house cusp, but immediately links back to Uranus in that fifth house. If you are wanting to connect to someone new, the end of this week and the following week, particularly, can really be very, very helpful to new meetings. It doesn't have to just be in terms of romance, could be friendships, maybe even around your professional situation. But Venus moving into Leo, it's very proud there, it has more confidence. You can draw a lot of good things to you over the next 4 weeks. I'm going to summarize the 4 areas of energy, work, relationships, and finances next. But just to say, I've slashed the price of my personal horoscope reports. It's now 3 for the price of 1. The one you pay for is your life roadmap report. Helps us to understand the patterns that are playing out in our lives, get a more intimate understanding of them and how to work them better future forwards. But 3, your 12 months transit forecast and your draconic soul karmic analysis, which helps us to look at astrology, life, and ourselves in a very different way. Please see below for more. If you've yet to watch your June monthly forecast, that's on the screen. If you've yet to watch your Chiron 50-year return forecast, on the screen. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, please check out my testimonials below. And if you've yet to sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning for your early day celestial pit stop, please see that below too. So to summarize, as far as energy is concerned, the sixth house of a chart can be to do with our physical health. And because you have Venus and Jupiter there, perhaps the key there is not to be perhaps too indulgent, if whatever you're eating or drinking. But Mercury in that sixth house, squaring with Saturn on Thursday, can create quite a lot of nervous tension. Also, just to say, the square between the Sun and the Moon on Monday, the quarter moon, means that if there is someone close to you that is perhaps taking your generosity for granted a little bit, that can affect your energy too, simply because no one likes to be, taken for granted, and that could be something that speaks up around energy as well. However, as far as your professional situation is concerned, I think this is a time when being really true to who you are in a deeper sense, because Aquarius people have a duality. There is that part of us that can be very hardworking. It's almost very Capricornian like. The other part, much more free spirited. It depends on the type of Aquarius person you are. If you're someone who's quite happy working away, being very dedicated, and you can perhaps pursue your creativity and your interests. I don't feel this week is going to be bad for work. If you're applying for a job, having an interview, Venus in that conjunction with Jupiter can really bring a slice of good fortune. But if you are in a job that's rather dull, this may be a time, if that's how you see it, to look at doing something different. And that's where that Uranus T square with the nodal axis on Friday could be a bit problematic, because maybe you need to shift away from something that's been reliable and consistent, but it just isn't really engaging you. And of course, any kind of change can be a bit stressful. So it depends on your situation. As far as finances are concerned, I wouldn't be splashing the cash on something that's not really essential this week, and set your boundary if someone has been taking you for granted. But Venus and Jupiter could bring some unexpected good fortune for sure. As far as relationships are concerned, well, the Sun and Uranus in the fifth house are showcasing your charisma. So don't be surprised if someone's finding you very attractive, particularly because Pluto linking with Uranus is giving you a lot more confidence to be uniquely yourself. But when Venus moves into Leo, that really ushers in the week after its arrival could be especially good for your connections to others. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Aquarius. Have a great week and look forward to seeing you again soon.